Okay, there's no way to just throw this in. I'm going to talk a little bit about Squid Game. So before I get into this, I just want to say that I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun viewing this. I'm not totally into any kind of series. I don't like watching something for longer than you know maybe 3 hours. But I enjoyed this the entire way through. Um, Everything I'm about to do is just kind of nitpicking and getting really into the nitty gritty. Um, so, what I will start off by saying is the way I perceive this entire show is basically it's like watching. It is the equivalent of if you have those friends who are like, "Oh my God, you need to eat. Oh, you like those tacos? Oh my God, you need to eat the tacos from this place." And then you go eat that, and then you're like, oh, okay. And then somebody's like, "Oh no, you want the best tacos? You need to go to Mexico on this street. The street tacos are the way to go." And then you end up eating 100 different tacos, and you're like, "Oh my God, they're still the same damn taco. They're just rebranded in a different way, or maybe there's different flavorings throughout it, but it's still a taco that you, no matter what, cover in salsa, and it's going to taste like salsa. It's just with different crunches. So that's what this is. Anybody who says this is completely different than anything you've ever seen doesn't really watch a lot of TV or movies. There's nothing really entirely new. The character arcs are exactly the same that you've seen in every single kind of movie. Um, the thing that really okay, so let's get into like nitty gritty small things. The main character you do not like in the very beginning. His entire point of being gets really hollow, and the idea of hey, I have to save my family, I want to see my daughter. He didn't care about this for years, what it seems. Uh, for quite a while, a big substantial amount of time, he's just been taking money from his mother, uh, which I believe was his mother throughout it. Um, but he's just doing that. He doesn't care about his child whatsoever until an easy money making scheme comes into play. Now he cares. And so, what? Sorry, I just now finished this stuff. Watched it all day. So when he's now given this opportunity, he now cares for his family or keeping his daughter in his life and doing good things for her, and that just felt really heavy-handed. Like, oh, now you're supposed to care. I don't care if your character didn't care for the majority of you know the very beginning to make us care about the character, and then all of a sudden they start to care. That's not going to make me all of a sudden care because you had all this time to, and then now you're in this extraordinary situation. And now I should care because you're in this extraordinary situation when you didn't have to be the entire time. There were other ways around it. Now we're told of a backstory that got him into the position he's in, but at the same time, he's still in the position he's in by not trying. He's just a chauffeur. So it it's a little bit hollow, his want and drive, and they even tried to reconcile that on episode 2, but it became even more shallow and hollow during that. Another thing that really did not sit right with the characters is every character, everything is so cliched to a T. I mean, it's almost as cliche as like whenever you watch like Pacific Rim, and when you watch Pacific Rim, you're gonna get the cliches everywhere you go, but you expected that because you expected a dumb uh, robots versus giant monsters kind of movie. you just throw in the cliches. Who cares? Here, you expect a little bit more of a character building, and where they could have had even more character building, they decided to throw in this infiltrating the evil organization kind of subplot, which went absolutely pretty much nowhere. Um, and it actually like at points those points got so tedious to the point of I was like, oh my god, should we just fast forward? It got tedious because you don't really care. You nothing about that establishes anything emotionally drawing to it. Intellectually, you're like, oh, okay, that could help, but at the same time, you didn't give us a question. You didn't pose us some kind of intrigue about this organization. Like we don't care about why it's happening. We just care more about can he get through it? Can these people get through it? And I feel like that was a little bit too shoehorned. Um, it needed to be written a little bit more, or just crafted a little bit better to make that fully stand out. Uh, that kind of subplot. Uh, Sorry, I hit that. So you have that, and then you of course also have the red herring. Um, I'm not going to get into spoilers, but there is a character in there that is completely different than every other character in there, and you could easily tell just by little words that they say that you're like, ah, they have a huge thing. Oh, they're not dead because I didn't see their death. Oh, you see everybody else die, so I didn't see their death, so you know they're not dead, and you know it's something important. I mean, it's just little things like that. You saw the twist coming from a mile away. And I called it. I was like, ah, yep. But let's see. Even the little subplot twist, you saw that coming. The fifth game in the sixth episode, fantastic. The emotions, everything was drawing perfectly. I feel like the games were a little bland per se. Uh, they didn't. This could be just something that is lost in culture because you have to realize this is a different culture who wrote this. But a lot of the things that happened character wise and person wise um, didn't seem believable in who these people were. Now, throwing this out, yes, people are different no matter what. Some people will do this, some people will do that. But in the structure of the story, people's actions need to make sense through the entire story. Um, and that's the problem is there's a lot of little things where these characters will do certain things right here but never do it again or have a change of heart completely and never think to do it ever again for this person or that. And you're like, okay, mm, it seems inconsistent, but at the same time, no character, no character had realistic, uh, full-on conversations with one another. They are essentially in these places for days, and I can tell you right now, you're if you're in a room that has no TV, nothing, and it's just say four of you, you're about to know a whole hell of a lot for each other because people are going to be bored. Here, it was like people just sat there going like this. I mean, you knew a little bit about them, but during those times where you're like, oh, this is where we would have character building and build up these characters. No, we're gonna go to the subplot that leads nowhere. That and then even the evil organization, they have a few little clauses in in their stuff that. So I'm not going to spoil this. I'm not going to try to spoil it. There's an idea behind it that is very much like Rat Race and like all these other movies that I can say so many movies. I don't want to spoil things, but the idea behind a lot of what they began with in the show gets thrown out if you actually dissect certain things with this organization. It doesn't make sense. First, it's kind of like Saw-esque. Oh, we're trying to prove a point. We're trying to make you feel this way. Because that's what the killer in Saw was trying to do. We're trying to make you a better person, even though you have to go through some horror. Um, it seems like it's trying to be that way, but then it turns into not being that way. But then some of the clauses in their rules don't make sense because if they were this way, and then they have this, and they're oh, you can even have a little democracy and figure out this with these people. But then this doesn't make sense because why would they offer that if it was this kind of ruling, if it was this kind of an organization? It just none of that really makes sense, but it was like the director or writer had a cool idea at the end of it and be like, oh well, if we do this, this would be really cool. Let's make sure I still have this moment. Oh, okay, well, we're gonna make this not really make sense if you look too much into it, just to have this cool moment. And that's what a majority of this was. It was cool ideas jumbled up and just forcefully put together to have a cool thing, and it worked. I mean, it works on an emotional, just surface layer, but then if you start to like break open the egg, you're like, oh, this is already scrambled. Uh, so it's not a crazy smart movie or a smart TV show. It's just it's just a fun throw your mind away and just enjoy a decent you know a decent little 8 hours. You know, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's just what I'm doing is nitpicking the heck out of it. I do feel like the ending. They kept. Excuse me again. They kept trying to not the ending, but I'm not going to get into spoilers. I'm really forcing myself not to. But they kept trying to do some kind of like little social commentary here. You know, everybody. We're keeping everybody on the same playing field. We're keeping this. We're doing this. No, you're not. No, you're not, because everybody's different. You know, I mean, look, throughout it, they were like, "Oh, if you're a woman, we don't want you on our team because you're not as strong. You're not going to help us with this game," and it proves to be factual. So nobody's on the same playing field. One guy's way stronger than everybody else. One guy's this. One person's smarter. I mean, nobody's on the same playing field just because they're all playing in the same game does not mean they're on the same playing field exactly like when they were outside, in the real world. So it is funny that they're trying to do the social commentary, but it's almost a a parody of itself if you actually look at it and you're like, well, you're wrong. Okay, I get what you're trying to say, but you do realize that you're just being hypocritical 100%. So it is funny. I'm not sure if that's how he wrote it, but I'm pretty sure he messed up, and it's all just hypocritical accidentally. Uh, so like this organization thinks that they're doing right, and thinks that they actually put people in this and did this and that, and don't realize the folly in their own ways. I don't know if he's going to address that just because he accidentally wrote that into it. But at the same time, that whole subplot right there gets thrown away later into their actual intentions. So why they actually do that, it doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, I think the reason why they do that is so you can have some dramatic sequences that take up a lot of runtime. Yeah. There's a lot of things like that throughout this, uh, where it's just like, we need filler because, So yeah, it was a fun watch. So if you have 8 hours to kill, go ahead and go, go ahead and go watch Squid Game. Just make sure that you take your analytical part of your brain and toss it over there. You'll have a lot more enjoyment. Thank you.